Okay. I think we're ready. Everything looks ready. Yeah. You know what? You know what? Hell yeah, we're ready. Hell yeah. Let's just go for this. Here it is. Welcome, welcome everyone. What's up, y'all? It is the Bonga, aka Matt. And today I'm also gonna be Coach Matt. Guys, tonight's an incredible night. I don't know when you're gonna be watching this, but for me, tonight is an incredible night. You know why? Because it is the eve. It's the eve before Overwatch League returns. Let me hit you with the lower third. Bam! Overwatch League 2021 season is here, and I am all about it. Dude, I literally can't put in words. I can't even speak right now. I can't put in words how excited I am for this season. This season's going to be absolutely amazing. Dude, we got players coming back. Some people are fourth-year veterans. We got players who are coaches now. We get organizations who are really ready to just keep on going with the league. There's so many things going on with Overwatch, with the league, with players, streamers. It's here. After the crazy year we've had, even after going through last season, as great as that was, it's back again, and damn, it's gonna be a great time. And I'm here to talk to you guys today about we're gonna go to the whiteboard, the Coach Matt's whiteboard. I don't have an actual whiteboard right now, unfortunately. I'm working on that. But that being said, every week during the Overwatch League season, I'm gonna do my best to. What we're gonna do is every week we're gonna gather together at the whiteboard, and we're gonna talk about the upcoming games every week. And then the Monday or Tuesday afterwards, after that weekend of games, we're gonna compare what I predicted versus what happens. It's gonna be where Coach Matt was right and where Coach Matt was wrong, and it's gonna be a great time. And I love doing this sort of thing. I like being right, but I love being proven wrong, because you know what? That's how you get better. Being wrong means you're learning something, and that's what we're gonna do every week. We're gonna learn what we think. We're gonna learn trends. It's gonna be absolutely amazing. Overwatch League 2021 is here, and I'm ready for it. Okay, so let me change the lower third here. Okay, so we got some crazy games this week. Some absolutely crazy games this week. We're gonna start out. We're gonna look here. We're gonna look at. Oh, hello. We're gonna zoom in here. Here's our opening weeks of games, and you know what? You can see that lower third there. My first hot take. It's not even really a hot take. My first prediction for this season is, at least for week 1, I think Dallas Fuel's tank line will dominate Houston's tanks. Wow. You know what? Week 1, tomorrow is gonna start off with a banger. Tomorrow is going to start out with Houston versus Dallas, the Battle of Texas. And you know what? I'm excited because I'm from Texas, and this hits home for me. I used to love watching the Dallas Cowboys face off against the Houston Texans, San Antonio Spurs versus the Dallas Mavericks. I love it all, and tomorrow's gonna be a crazy game. Now, my thoughts for this one is I think that Dallas Fuel's tank line will dominate Houston's tanks. Some people in power rankings lately have had Dallas Fuel a little lower, despite the amount of hype that people have been going with ever since Paris. The Paris Eternal roster from last year just jumped ship, and everyone went to Dallas. They got a lot of hype. Some people are saying that in scrims they're not performing well, but honestly, for me, when I look at the Dallas Fuel and I see that roster, how can they not be at least kind of good? It feels impossible. It feels literally impossible to me that you can take that much talent and not at least produce some sort of great results. I mean, like literally all those players, 2 of them were Rookie of the Year candidates last year. And with the coaching that they have, a lot of guys who used to play together, now they're back together, I think it's going to be crazy. And particularly for me, Dallas Fuel's tank line, Fearless and Hanbin, they're going to be crazy. I'll put on some B-roll for you guys here. This is from our former Battle of Texas here. So for me, Hanbin was on Paris Eternal last year, and Fearless was on Shanghai last year. Both pretty good teams, both had pretty good results. Paris might not have risen as high as they thought they would, but I definitely don't think it was Hanbin's fault. Early on, I thought Hanbin was a great diva. He meshed well within the metas, within Double Shield, within Rush, and I think Hanbin was an extremely strong player. And Fearless had the redemption story last year. Fearless was the kid from Shanghai who went 0-40, was brought in on Season 1 Shanghai to try to give him a little fire, and he couldn't do it. but you know, season 1 was just a dumpster fire for the Shanghai Dragons. He came back in season 3 and he popped off. If you guys don't remember, Stand One was a player on Shanghai, and he was doing okay. He was doing okay, but he was having some trouble getting some momentum. And you know what? If you can't remember the May Melee last year, Seoul Dynasty was running over the Shanghai Dragon, and it took a swap to Fearless and his Winston play for them to really pop off. And they reverse swept and eventually won the May Melee. It was absolutely amazing. And honestly, I'm excited for Dallas Fuel's tank line this opening week, because Piggy on the Houston Outlaws side, Piggy and Jonggu are 2 rookies, well sought out, and like they probably got paid a good amount of money to go to Houston. But you know what? It's opening jitters. You know, I love rookies. I love new talent. I think it's important for every team. But to be completely honest, at this point in the game, I think that especially in an online stage, I think it's going to be tough for Piggy and Jongyu on the Houston Outlaws to face off against 2 really talented tanks. And I'm sure the other players on Houston's roster will do fine. Dante's going to be great. Their support line Crimzo is going to be great. But I just think that the opening week jitters are really going to get Houston. And right now, I have Dallas winning 3-1 over Houston. And I'm a Dallas fanboy. I love Dallas. I'm a Houston fanboy. Wow, it's so bad I can't even get my own fandom correct. But yeah, I think Dallas Fuel is going to take it. I think the tank line is going to be great for the Dallas. And you know what? I'm here for it. And I'm very curious because if I remember right, Dallas also plays another team. Who else does Dallas play? Dallas plays Gladiators the next day, and that's going to be their big opportunity to make a statement. If the Dallas Fuel can beat Gladiators on Saturday against Gladiators' new main tank Muse, I think it's going to be a big sign that the people who are trying to hate on Dallas just for being a kind of like pay-to-win roster, I think that'll shut a lot of people up. So I'm here for it. Okay, so that's my first opinion for the week. My second view of the week, we're going to change up our lower third here. My first change up here is, here it is. All right, you're about to see it in just one sec. We're going to change it up. So then the second match of the day is the LA Gladiators versus the San Francisco Shock. That's all on day 1. Day 1 is packed full of storylines here. And you know what? You know who I think is going to win? The LA Gladiators. I think the LA Gladiators will beat the San Francisco Shock on opening day. It's going to be fucking amazing. I literally can't wait for it. And you might ask why I think that. As you can see in the lower third below, I think the support line of Moth and Shu on the LA Gladiators, I think that's going to put them over the top. Honestly, I think San Francisco Shock obviously is probably the favorite of the entire season. I did that in my power rankings. San Francisco Shock is incredible. But I think the early stages, I think, is where Shock might not always be the best team. I think they're kind of like the New England Patriots. It takes them a little bit to figure themselves out. They're going to be good. San Francisco's going to be good. Everyone knows it. It's not like really a surprise. But I do think that for opening week, I think Gladiators will make a statement. I think Glads will win 3-2 over the San Francisco Shock. It's going to be a tight game, a real tight game. But Moth and Shu are huge pickups for the Glads. I love Shaz. I love Big Goose. They were my guys for the first 3 seasons, and I love that the Glads wanted to keep them for that long. But at this point, you know, they needed to change. They were consistently near the top, but they don't play to be near the top. You play to be on the top. And Moth and Shu are incredible pickups. Moth obviously is. I think his ceiling as a main support wasn't the highest, but his floor was extremely high. He's never bad. And you know what? On main support, if you have the guy who just never makes mistakes, that will elevate your team play. What can go wrong? There's nothing more frustrating than facing off against a main support who just always is in the right spot at every single time. It's kind of like how Choi Hyobin is on off tanks. Moth was on that main support role where he just never made mistakes. And you know, you have to go the extra mile to win, not just to beat the San Francisco Shock, because you always knew Moth was always going to be in the right spot. So. In Shu, I don't want to skip over Shu. Shu on Guangzhou Charge. Guangzhou Charge was kind of a team that people overlooked because, you know, they're not flashy. They're not a famous city. They're just kind of a team. Even their color scheme, I personally think, even their color scheme was a little lackluster. That little kind of like like a half-ass blue, but Shu was a shining star on that team. I remember season 2, people thought he might be rookie of the year, and I am with that. You know, he kind of tabled off, and Guangshu's kind of always been in that mid tier. But now that Shu's on a really, really great team, I think it's going to make a huge difference. And I'm excited to see what Moth and Shu can bring to the rest of the team, especially with Glads with their new main tank. I think that's going to be tough for Muse. Of course, Muse's first opponent is going to be the San Francisco Shock against probably Super, because they're probably going to be playing Ryan Rush. That's going to be a tough ask for Muse, but I think Moth and Shu are going to have to, and I think they will carry Muse in that new roster, that new synergy. They'll take him to the big victory. So, as a Glads fan, you know, I live in LA, and the two teams I picked the most, or the team I had to pick between the two LA teams was Glads. I'm really excited to see what they do, and I think they'll maybe not surprise some people, but they'll make a splash against the Shock. Okay, next up is Atlanta Reign. I want to talk about the Atlanta Reign. Let's change up the B-roll here. Guys, prepare here. Oh, hello. Got a little audio there. So we're going to change the lower third here. So my next, Atlanta Reign. I want to talk about this because some people have had them pretty high in their power rankings. Watchpoint Korea, one guy had him at number 3, I think. And a lot of people are high on Atlanta, which I find surprising. And I think it's a symptom of something that they've shown in past years. I think Atlanta Reign will be very good early. They've proven themselves to have talent, but I think they'll be bad with meta changes over time. And you might think, hey, what does that matter in week 1? I think what's going to happen is Atlanta plays Florida on Saturday in the primetime match. I think Atlanta's going to beat them there. I think Atlanta's going to be very good at Rush with the current meta with Reinhardt, Baptiste. But I want to take Atlanta's success with a slight grain of salt. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about them as a team right now. What do you call it? One of the biggest things is I'm not always obsessed with immediate reaction. Everyone's going to overreact early. One team's going to make an upset, and everyone's going to say, "Oh my God, is that team going to be a surprise pick?" But it's week 1. People are still figuring themselves out. Some people had a hard time traveling. Some people might be playing on odd ping due to the COVID restrictions and visa restrictions. And you know what? I don't want to overreact. And I've got a feeling people are going to say Atlanta is one of the best teams, and I want to see what happens when they change metas. Experimental patch went live today. If any of those changes go through, Baptiste changes will probably go through. If any of those go through, meta's going to flip. And that's where I'm going to see if Atlanta really is worth their money. Last season, they went it was weird. They would do really good stage 1, pretty good stage 2. Stage 3, they kind of fell off. And then I think they went 0-4 straight in stage 4. Stage 4 being the last tournament going into playoffs. Atlanta's weird. I don't know if it's their coaching staff. I don't know if their players aren't flexible. I mean, Jesus, this is the playoff. We're watching a playoff B-roll right now. Every other team was trying Hog, Sigma, Double Sniper. Atlanta pretty much hard ran Reinhardt and Zarya with Moira and Lucio. I think at one point they swapped to Winston. I can't remember, but they were like, "We're going hard on this." And you know, if you didn't know, on this match, they almost gave Boston 2 maps. They were up 2-0, and then they started to slow down as Boston started changing up their hero picks. They started doing some Roadhog. Boston did. And Atlanta couldn't really adjust. So temper your expectations with Atlanta. I'll eat my words if I'm wrong, but they're probably going to be good early, and I don't know if they'll be able to keep up over time. That's my vibe on Atlanta. Nothing against those guys. We're going to go back to full screen here. My next pick, my next little thing here, is we're going to talk real quick about the APAC meta. Boom. I think that the meta in APAC, this isn't really a hot take. This is more of just an observation that I think will be pretty interesting going forward, that I hope to see. A lot of people have been talking about regional metas, how certain continents prefer to play Overwatch versus the other. It's been said that a lot of the NA teams, NA players, even in ranked, not even just in pro play, they prefer the Reinhardt meta. They prefer Reinhardt. They like playing Mei. They like, I don't want to call it the simpler meta, but they kind of like that aggressive, less teamwork oriented, more just opportunistic sort of play style. And in APAC, they prefer, because they have better practice opportunities with ranked is taken more seriously over there. They like those Winston comps. They like those dive comps. They like those, what some would call boom or bust metas. with Winston dives, where like people will say like playing dive is harder. It's just harder. Your cooldowns, your movement, you can move faster, but you're punished harder. And if other teams are prepared for it, mistakes are magnified in the dive meta. So that being said, I'm oh hello. Just the wrong thing. Yeah, I'm very excited to see how the meta in APAC will look than NA. We saw it in the New York Excel versus Guangzhou Charge Open Scrim. We saw a lot of Winston, we saw some D.Va, we saw some Zarya, even some Wrecking Ball if environmental kills are there. And they went with really hard comps without a lot of outright damage. Because, NA right now is playing a lot of McCree May, right? A lot of boomer bust. You set up the wall, throw the flashbang, you got a BAP, and you just go boom, boom, boom. With APAC, you might go Sombra. You might go a little less safety net of healing with some teams might go Zen Brig with their picks, which I don't know if you've ever tried to play a game with Zen Brig, but there's not a lot of healing, and especially for tank players who are used to kind of getting that constant support, you have to be smart with the Zen Brig. Zen Brig can be very powerful. That damage boost, the damage. The Discord Orb of Zenyatta can be a huge damage boost for your diving tanks and your diving heroes like Sombra, but or Tracer or Echo. But it's harder to play, and I'm excited to see what the differences will be, especially if you can catch the encore matches that go on before the main NA broadcast. Really pay attention to the games this weekend and see if the APAC teams are playing a Reinhardt rush meta, or if they're doing something completely different. And then you can start to theory craft, hey, if whenever APAC does play against NA, which teams are going to mirror each other? Or do they have to mirror? If APAC only practices dive comps, or if that's the more popular pick across the board, whenever they do know they have to face off against the NA teams, are they going to see if, are we going to see finally a non-mirror match happen? Are we going to see, Brigzen, or are we going to see Brigzen versus Baptiste Lucio? Who knows? And it's going to be crazy to see. And I just love variety. I'm very curious if there's always that little regional rivalry that's like, APAC's just better. APAC's better at everything that NA is, other than San Francisco Shock. And we're really going to see how these metas develop, especially now that the divisions are really set in stone. It's going to be really cool to see. And my last change or prediction for the opening weekend isn't really a prediction. It's more of a reaction to the experimental patch notes that came through. I'm very excited about the patch notes that came through. It's going to be absolutely nuts. We're going to bring them up right here. Give me 1 second. The experimental patch notes that went live today, a lot of them are kind of indicative of the experimental tournament that went on a few weeks ago, which is very surprising. People knew that was kind of a meme thing. People knew that was going to be kind of a meme thing, the experimental tournament, but it seems like some things kind of carried through. And let's take a look at the patch notes here. So the reason why I want to bring this up is, as you watch the games this weekend, particularly in NA, relish the Baptiste play. You're probably going to see a lot of Bat play in the NA games, and relish it. I love Baptiste as a hero. I think he's extremely entertaining to watch. But as a player, as someone who would, if I had to face off against a really good Baptiste, he feels kind of oppressive, especially Immortality Field. He's got 2 ultimates basically on cooldown because he gets his Matrix Field really fast if he's playing with Orion and D.Va who are clumped up together, and a McCree and a May. And he also gets he has Immortality Field, which is absolutely nuts. So I just want to bring this up because you're gonna want to watch BAP players and relish at this stage, because I think with these changes, it's going to be very tough to play Baptiste at the pro level, at least for us observers. I think with this Immortality change, it's going to change a lot. The big one I want to point out is the Immortality Field now protects teammates to a minimum health threshold of 10% health instead of 20. To put that in perspective, think of Reinhardt. Reinhardt, especially with the changes, if he has 500 health, which is what they're running in the experimental patch right now, if he had 500 health right now with the current Immortality Field, if he was standing inside Immortality, he'd have 20%. He has 20% health. So 20% of 500 is 100 health. So that means that if I have a Ryan versus a Reinhardt, and I use my immortality to save my Reinhardt. If the enemy Reinhardt destroys the immortality field, my Reinhardt is going to still have 100 health. So an enemy Reinhardt would swing at my Reinhardt, and if nothing else happened, he'd have my team's Rein would still have 85 damage, 15 health. And then within that 15 health, he could get healed. He could get nanoed if we also have an Ana or whatever. He could be healed somehow. He'll survive after one swing after the immortality is broken. Now, if this experimental goes live, it's down to 10%. Now, a 500 HP Reinhardt after immortality is killed, if he's taken all the damage, now he only has 50 health. And that means that one Rein swing after immortality is destroyed will kill him. It seems like 10% seems like such a small number, but for immortality field in particular, because it's so good at saving high HP targets, who are often like the easiest to shoot, obviously, as immortality goes down. Your Orisas are going to be affected. You wouldn't really play Winston, but particularly for Reinhardt, Rush is a meta because you can use immortality so aggressively. Sometimes you can start a team fight with immortality. If you can survive long enough, or maybe pop an ult or two, you might be able to get immortality by the end of it, and then you can keep the fight up. So this change alone, we haven't even looked at the other changes. I don't like the Reinhardt health nerf. I don't like that a lot. This Diva thing is kind of memey. Moira might replace Bap in Rush because 2 seconds on the biotic orb is a pretty big deal, and you get ult faster because you can throw more orbs out. So just coalescences all day, kind of like AWL 2020 playoff meta. Orisa got this halt change, but with the radius nerf a while back on Orisa's halt, I don't think that'll make a huge difference. But really, if you like Bap, at least watching him in pro play, like pray they don't do this change, but they probably will make this change, and I think Rush meta will go away. Unfortunately, because I actually really enjoy watching Rush meta, and a lot of pro players and other players have said that they really enjoy the meta as it is right now, even with Baptiste immortality. So we're going to see how it goes, but for now, my prediction is once this experimental card goes through with the BAP changes, BAPs might be out, and then we might go to Winston Zarya again. Ana might be more important again, since she'll have the best single target healing, and her nano can kind of be a replacement for immortality, at least for a Reinhardt. You can nano Rein and keep that duel going. But yeah, so I think that's what's gonna happen. And those are my five takes for this opening weekend. Let's see, let's go back here. I think that Dallas Fuel tanks are going to dominate Houston and hopefully give a good performance this weekend. I think that the Gladiator supports of Moth and Shu are going to carry them to victory. I think Atlanta Reign are going to have a good showing this weekend, but take that with a grain of salt. I think APAC meta was going to be different than NA. It's going to be really fun to watch. And experimental notes, I want to play them this weekend and see what's up. But those are my hot takes, my lukewarm takes, my pancake takes, whatever you want to call it. And you know what? That was really fun, and I am so excited. Just in it's almost midnight here. In 12 hours, we're going to see the opening. We're going to see our show opens. We're going to see just a lot of work from the players, from the coaches, from the broadcast staff. We're back again, and I could not be more excited. And I'm really glad you guys are here for it. I hope you guys have picked your teams. I hope you guys have a jersey. I got my Saya player jersey on. I'm wearing a different Overwatch jersey every day of the week this week. So freaking pumped. And you know what? Hit up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit up in the comments how you think this Overwatch League season's gonna go, how this weekend's gonna go, how your team's gonna go, how your favorite player is gonna be. Think about it all. There's so much. Dude, there's so much story. There's so many storylines that I want people to learn about and unlock with the Overwatch League. It's so good. And now that we're 4 years deep, about to enter our fourth season, the storylines just keep coming. And that's what people come to sports for. They want to see the stories. They want to see who's going to be good. Is Dallas going to be good? That's an eternal story in any sport ever. And guys, I can't be more here for it. So again, I'm the Bonga, aka Coach Matt, aka your resident Overwatch League expert. But yeah, that being said, watch the games, watch them on YouTube. Make sure you link your account to get those tokens, buy them dope skins, We got more skins coming along the way. John Spector said that, so that's not a leak. And yeah, guys, it's here. Overwatch League 2021 is here. And you know what? We're here for it. Thank you, everyone. Make sure you subscribe below, and I will see you guys later. On Sunday, I'm going to live stream the game, so come and join me, and we're going to have a great time watching. The broadcast is going to be great. Have a great night. I said that. Wherever you watch it, catch you later.